Welcome all. We're just letting everyone in and then we're going to get started. Alice, I think we've got everyone in the session. If you'd like to kick it off, that'd be great.
Okay, welcome everybody to our Lunch and Learn today. My name is Alice Dalbo and I am the Director of Post-Secondary Opportunity for Latinx Ed, and I work with our College y Consejos initiative. And Candy, I think you have control of the slides, is that correct? So you can advance to a little bit. I am super excited to have this opportunity to work today with folks from the TheDream.Us scholarship program so that everyone here can learn more about the amazing opportunities that the TheDream.Us provides for undocumented students in North Carolina. But I just wanted to start a little bit to tell you about College y Consejos for those of you who aren't aware of our program. We started in September of 2020. So we started, as you might imagine, as a virtual program. And we serve current high school juniors and seniors, regardless of immigration status, who identify as Latinx and who have plans for post-secondary education. So we help them with all of the various college tasks, coming up with their lists, helping them with the residency determination system, which I know everyone on this call has encountered for better and for worse. We do FAFSA completion, verification, but we do all of that while also centering culture and community. And so our students, once they join us, and all of this is free, once the students join us, they become part of the community that we host on a Discord server, which is a cooler version of, what kids used to use as Facebook, I suppose. And so they join us on Discord for additional community building activities. And we also are able to provide more culturally responsive and culturally relevant support through the community building that we do. So I actually don't do most of the direct advising. We have three amazing bilingual coaches who share many of the same lived experiences that our students share. All of them actually served in the College Advising Corps for their respective universities after they graduated. So I know we have a lot of College Advising Corps folks here today, so welcome. We also meet with families in the language of their choice, whether that's English or Spanish, which I know we really do to help counselors and schools with their load, because we know that bilingual counselors are at a shortage in every state and certainly in North Carolina, and with all that educators and counselors are dealing with, even still in 2022, and maybe more so in 2022, we're hoping that the services we provide are able to shoulder some of your load. So on the next slide, I have listed a whole bunch of links. If Candy wants to move that, thank you. You don't have to write these down because the TheDream.Us will send you the slides and the slide deck, so you'll be able to click on any of these web links. But we are onboarding students at any point in time to join us by meeting with a coach. We just kicked off a series for juniors. So it's a great time for your juniors to join us. And I'm also available if any of you want to schedule a meeting sometime to learn more about our program or to talk a little bit more about how we might serve our students. But certainly one of the ways we do serve our students is we work with probably about 15%, maybe 20% of our students are undocumented. And so understanding opportunities for post-secondary pathways for undocumented students is an important part of what we do, which is why we wanted to partner for this Lunch and Learn with TheDream.Us. And they will tell you they have a new opportunity this year with one of their scholarships exclusively for students in North Carolina, and we're really excited about that. So I'm going to turn over the floor to Candy Marshall from TheDream.Us to tell you more, and you'll hear from some scholarship recipients today as well. So thank you so much for being here, and we'll be here to answer questions throughout the time.
So welcome all. Thank you, Alice. And to all of you, a special thanks to Alice, because none of this would be happening but for her resilience and determination to help get the word out. So we are so appreciative. It looks like we've got 87 participants. That is just fabulous. I want you to know, as I've traveled around the country, not so much the last 2 years, and met with partner colleges all across the nation and watched the commitment of people at our partner colleges, people in college advising, high school counselors, and the commitment you have to serving these students is so impressive. And I often say to my family and friends, don't despair by the news that we see every day. There are good people in this country doing good work, and I consider all of you to be in that group. So thank you. So let me just jump right in. The Dream.Us scholarship program is now the nation's largest college and career success program for undocumented students. We've been around for 8 years. It is shocking to us that we are the largest. We would love to be unseated, but as you might guess, there are not that many organizations specifically providing scholarships for undocumented students, although I have to say that has increased significantly in the last 8 years. We've given out over 7,500 scholarship awards. We have 2,100 graduates. They are across the country. Today, we're very much focused on North Carolina. Our goal with the funds that we've raised are to give 9,000 scholarships and have 7,000 graduates. And now is the time to be joining us in terms of this scholarship round. We have a very generous donor who has put forth money so that if we can get a robust enough pool, we will give 1,500 awards for our national program and 150 awards for our opportunity program. So I'm going to jump right in and start to talk about those programs. We have 2 programs, and I want to talk with you about each of them because both are available to North Carolina students. So let's start with what we call our national program. It opened November 1. It closes February 28. So we've still got time for people to get together their applications together. We announced the awards in late April, and then the students have until May 8 to accept. The scholarship is for $37,000, up to $37,000 for tuition, fees, books, and supplies for a bachelor's degree. That's for high school students. We also, and this is important in North Carolina, have a scholarship for community college graduates. So students who have graduated from North Carolina community colleges can receive up to $31,000 for tuition, fees, books, and supplies for a bachelor's degree. The partner college that we have, and we are so happy to have them, they are just new to us, is Wingate. And I've got a contact here for Eva, but we are joined today by Myra Rosales, and we will get you, if Myra, you can even put in the chat if you haven't already, your name and email address. She's with admissions and can help answer questions that we have, you have about Wingate as we go through the session today. But before we jump there, I'm going to come back up here to the national. We happen to be joined today by 2 of our scholars who are now graduates. One received the National Award, the other received the Opportunity Award. And I want to introduce you first to Sadhana Singh. She actually is my colleague. She now works with TheDream.Us. She received our scholarship when she was a student in Georgia, went to Trinity Washington University, graduated with her degree in communications, and has been working with us, she tells me now, almost 4 years. So Sadhana, I'm hoping that you can just talk a little bit about your journey in receiving the National Scholarship, just to give people a sense of the student perspective on this award. And Sadhana, we need you to unmute.
Sorry, everyone. I have a little noise going on, so I didn't want to unmute right away. If it comes back on, you might see me go back on mute. Sorry about that. Thank you, Candy. Oh, there it goes. All right, I'm so sorry about that. They're giving announcements in my building right now.
May I have your attention, please?
Are
Candy,
you
perhaps
safe?
you can go to Brenda.
I will. I'll just go on and then we'll come back to you. And I hope you're safe. If you need to abandon ship, please do. Okay, so let me go on and then we'll come back. The second scholarship is the Opportunity Scholarship. It is a much more generous scholarship in that it's up to $80,000 and covers not only tuition and fees, but also on-campus housing and meals. That scholarship also opened November 1. It closes January 31. So what is that? About 10 days away. So really important that you're joining us today and that we can share this about with you. The awards are announced mid-March. The deadline for students to accept is March 27. Let me show you this scholarship. The students have to leave the state of North Carolina to use it. And what they can do is use the scholarship at these 5 partner colleges. And again, just further evidence of the goodness in the world. All of these 5 partner colleges have agreed to take our students, for those of them that are public institutions, at in-state tuition rates. And then they work with us to close the gap so that the full costs are covered for a student. And it's no easy journey for them to have done this. Many of them had to overcome hurdles, not only political hurdles, but even some difficulty with their own student population about extending this to students who are coming from outside of the state. So they have bravely gone forth. And we have joining us today, Brenda Duran, who received our Opportunity Scholarship. She attended Durham Tech for 2 years, then received our award, went to Delaware State University, and graduated in 2021 with her nursing program. So Brenda, I'm going to turn it over to you to talk to you about your journey, how you learned about our scholarship, what the experience was in applying, and just a little about your experience at DSU.
I was gonna say, I know her. Brenda.
Hello, everybody. My name is Brenda Duran. So I'm a recent graduate from Delaware State University, and I was also an opportunity scholar from TheDream.Us from 2018 to 2021. So the funny thing, the way I heard about this scholarship was actually through another scholar. I was in Durham Tech before I transferred to Delaware State. I was there for completing my Associate's of Arts in Nursing. And so I was looking to transfer into another 4-year university to get my BSN in nursing. And I heard about the scholarship through another scholar because she posted an ad about TheDream.Us. And I looked through the requirements and I saw I was eligible. So that's when I was like, I was a little shook at first because I was like, wow, like I never even heard of this scholarship. And I was like, it sounded too good to be true. One of those things. So I looked up their site and then I saw all the requirements, and it was perfect for like my situation because I lived in North Carolina, which was one of the locked out of states. And so I just went ahead and applied and got people to read through my essays, and it was just a different journey. The schools that I looked into applying to apply to was Delaware State, and Trinity was actually my second choice because I didn't want to be too far from home. But yeah, it was definitely a great and amazing experience to live there for 3 whole years.
Brenda, we are so proud to have you as a scholar, and I'm watching the chat and I can tell many others are proud of you as well, especially the people at Durham Tech. And I know Alice shares that experience. I forgot to share that Alice has known Brenda since she was a little girl. And Brenda's sister received also another program you can check out on another day, Golden Door Scholarships, received a Golden Door Scholarship and has also gone to college. So both of you applauds. Now let's see, Sadhana, are you through a drill?
I think so. I will talk very fast in case it comes back. Sorry, everyone. My name is Sadhana Singh. I now serve as Senior Communications Manager with TheDream.Us. As Candy mentioned, I was a Dream.Us scholar. I'm originally from Guyana in South America and came to the US when I was 13. My parents settled in Georgia, and right after high school, I was sort of in this limbo of what to do for college and what to do for furthering my higher education. And it turned out that I waited about 10 years after high school to find the Dream.Us. And having the scholarship changed my life. So I was about 28 when I applied to this scholarship. At the time, I ended up having to leave Georgia and go to college at Trinity Washington University, which is one of the partners you see on the screen. I did not have the opportunity scholarship that Candy's talking about did not exist at the time. So I actually paid for my own room and board to relocate to DC, but it was one of the best decisions I ever made in my life. It opened up the whole world for me. And it was the first time that I was ever able to sort of be in a network of other dreamers, to be part of advocacy, to share my story, to meet people like Candy Marshall, like Gabby Pacheco, my colleague in the chat, people like Alice, who are champions and supporters of dreamers. It was the first time I was ever part of such a community, and the scholarship really changed my life. I graduated with a bachelor's degree in communication in 2018, and that's when I was fortunate enough to join the team full time. Now I can give back to other dreamers, share this opportunity all across the country, and help my fellow dreamers get to the same place that I got to. So I'll say that another little tidbit is that I also met my husband through this scholarship as well. So the scholarship has impacted my life in more ways than one, and I could not be more grateful. So please share this widely. It does have the power to change lives. Thank you very much.
Oh, Saad, that was so perfect. Yes, given Saad and her husband Myford's meeting, we now make the joke that we are not more than a scholarship program, we're also a dating service. So happy and so proud to have you, not only as one of our scholars, but as a colleague, Sadhana. Okay, let me jump into a little bit of the nitty gritty, if you'll be so kind, just so you have an understanding of the eligibility for each of these programs. So let me get my little, so let's talk first about immigration eligibility. And this slide is relevant for both programs. And what is really important here is we want you all to know that students are eligible to apply for either scholarship, regardless of whether they have DACA or TPS. And that is so important right now because, as I'm sure many of you understand, students who are graduating from high school right now, if they did not apply for DACA when they turned 15 years old, they cannot apply today. It is no longer available to them. So we opened our program to these students a couple of years ago, knowing that they have no options. So they do not have to have DACA, do not have to have TPS. If they do not, then there are two things that have to be true. They have to have come to November 1, 2016. Let me explain that. It is 5 years before our scholarship round opened. And for those of you familiar with DACA, you know that DACA actually had a 5-year requirement, but because DACA was implemented in 2012, that required that students have come before 2007. If we kept that 2007 date, what you'll find is undocumented students are aging out, and it's going to be a smaller and smaller pool every year who came before 2007. So we decided to adopt the spirit of DACA, and will always require that you have been in the country for 5 years before the date that our round opened. The second key criteria here is they have to otherwise meet the DACA eligibility criteria. They came before the age of 16, no criminal background, the rest of those criteria. So that gives you a sense that we are now very much open to students without DACA. So now let's take a look, and we're going to do a little drill down here beyond the immigration eligibility criteria. And what I want to do is a little contrast for you. This is the national program, so for use at Wingate University. The difference between the high school and the community college scholarship. Most of the criteria are exactly the same. What I'm going to do is highlight here for you here where there's a difference. So I've just talked about the immigration criteria for both. You have to have come to the country before the age of 16. Look at criteria number 3. There's a slight difference here. For high school graduates, you have to have a GPA of 2.5 or greater. For community college graduates, a GPA of 3.0 or greater. And then look at the next criteria. For our high school graduates, you cannot have earned more than 21 credits at a community college or a 4-year university before this coming fall of 22. We added this. It used to be that you could have no credits at a community college or university. And we realized that many students, and this is so true in North Carolina, start their journey at the local community college because it is more affordable and more accessible. And many of our students have taken a class here or a class there as they can afford them in order to start their college journey. And to us, that is simply evidence of that student's resilience and determination to earn a college degree. And we don't want to eliminate them from our program simply because they've taken the initiative to actually enroll in classes as they could afford them. On the other hand, it is not our intent to fund students who have already been fully enrolled in a 4-year university and have the funds to pay for college. We're really trying to reach those students that didn't have the money to start at the 4-year college. But we realize that there are some cases, even with 4-year universities, where they might have been able to take a class or two. Not likely in North Carolina, given they would have been paying very high out-of-state costs to do that. The community college is very similar, except for, of course, they will have earned community college credits because they're graduating with an associate degree. But again, they can't have earned more than 41 credits at a 4-year college or university before the fall of 2022. Right, and then otherwise, you'll see here, it's very similar, eligible for in-state tuition at a partner college if it's applicable. Wingate is our partner college and it's private, so it's not. And at both of these, of course, the student must be admitted, apply to and be admitted to Wingate in order to use our award. Alice had asked an important question this morning about, can students be commuters? Will they be required to live on campus? And Myra, I think you were doing a little research for us. If you could unmute and maybe just speak to what Wingate's going to do to support our scholars.
So we are a 4-year residential campus, so we require all students to live on campus unless they live within an hour radius of campus. And so at Wingate, if students win or are awarded the TheDream.Us scholarship, we will go ahead and meet that gap of tuition, of room and board. So tuition and room and board and fees would be covered under the TheDream.Us scholarship.
Okay, so what you can hear here is this is an incredibly generous opportunity for students in North Carolina. So I'm a little bit floored at the generosity of Wingate and very pleased. Not all of our private universities are able to do what they are doing. So I really encourage you to help us get the word out to students about this opportunity. Now, let me look at the opportunity criteria just so you can see. Again, it's very similar. So the one difference here, same immigration criteria, the student has to live in and graduate from a high school in North Carolina before this fall 2022 with a GPA, and it's a slightly higher GPA here of 2.8 or greater. The reason we have a slightly higher GPA for this one is it was really at the council of our partner colleges in the opportunity program. And what they shared is you really want to ensure that you have students who are college ready. If they are leaving their families behind, they're going to a different state, likely for these students going to a university they're never even heard of, you really want to ensure that they are college ready. So their recommendation was keep a little bit higher GPA for the opportunity. And then again, they can't have earned more than 21 credits at a four-year college or university. No limit on what's happened at the community college level, none. They can have earned their associate degree and they can still apply. Again, really important in North Carolina, where so many students, just like Brenda, start at the local community colleges. They do have to relocate and enroll full-time in the bachelor's degree program at the partner college. And of course, they must apply to and be admitted to one of the opportunity colleges. Now, quick note on this, the opportunity partner colleges are just so phenomenal. They have all agreed that the application to our scholarship counts as the application to the college. Now, they may come back around and get additional information from the students because they needed to have it in their systems, but it counts as the same application. So, and they read the essays of our scholars, they look at the data that we collect in our applications. So this is really a great thing for students. It reduces the amount of work they have to do to get this award. Now I'm going to, let me look and see where I am here in my deck. What I want to do right here is just pause for a moment. And I forgot to tell you at the beginning, if you have questions, please put them in the chat. I see Saad's already said that. And Sadana, let's pause for a minute. It sounds like we might be getting some questions. Can you tell us what they are and we'll see if we can get them answered?
Yes, absolutely. So I'm going to be helping uplift your questions. First question we got super early on. What about if students want to start at a community college in North Carolina?
So they cannot use our award at a community college in North Carolina. But if they have started and earned credits, they could apply for our award and then transfer to Wingate, or if they want to choose the opportunity path, they could go out of state.
All right, another question. Does the eligibility include students who have certain visas?
It does. U visa is one of them. Gabby, you're on the line. You are the most experienced. And are there other visas that we allow? I don't want to misspeak.
For the most part, that's the one. But what we suggest is for students to reach out to us and let us know. But the criteria is mostly that they're undocumented, that they have DACA TPS, or if they're undocumented and have a special visa like a U visa, they can apply.
Good, thank you. And for all of you, you're hearing from Gabby Pacheco, who is a national leader in immigrant rights and has been working at this since she was a teenager, I think. So we are always so honored. She's on our team. She helps lead TheDream.Us, and we're always so honored to have her. Other questions?
Yes, so a question came in about students who are in dual enrollment with community college. So as part of Career and College Promise, are they eligible?
They are, and dual enrollment credits do not count against the student. So for that 21 credits limit, especially, let me jump back up here to the national program, where we said no more than 21 credits in community college or four-year university. If they're dual enrollment credits that they earn while they're in high school, we don't count them. Again, we completely encourage that. It's a fabulous approach. Other questions?
Yes, one more. Are early college graduates eligible for the high school scholarship, or would they have to complete the associate's degree first? Many students may have more than 21 credits, but will not complete the associate degree by the time they can apply.
Okay, and early high school graduates. So these are students who graduated from high school early. Is that the person asking the question? Is that what you're saying?
I believe they're in college already, so they're early in their college journey, but they are past 21 credits.
So, you know,
I would say if one of the, if I can interrupt, if someone who goes to an early, if someone representing an early college high school can explain the model, I think that would be really helpful, because that can mean different things, I think, in different states. So can one of our early college high school folks explain what the situation is for their students? I don't know if Debbie or who asked a question can unmute
Yes,
themselves.
it was Debbie, if she's willing to come off mute.
Yep. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Hi, good afternoon. Thanks you guys for having this. So our early college is a 5-year high school program that students are working towards getting their associate's degree. But now that you just said that about the CCP credits, that if they're not, if they're dual credit, that you're not counting those, so that shouldn't affect our early college graduates.
You are correct. Thank you for explaining that. So no, we applaud those programs. So there could be students in those programs that have earned more than 21 credits, but because they're early college or dual enrollment credits, they do not count against them. So they'd still be eligible to apply for the high school graduate scholarship. And of course, if they've actually earned their associate degree, then they would apply for the community college graduate scholarship, which, well, it's a smaller amount of money. It's actually more generous because it covers up to 3 years to earn your bachelor's degree. So it's a shorter period of time than for the high school. Okay, any other questions, Saad, or may I move on?
Yeah, there is a question. How does the partnership with other institutions work, and who should they contact regarding that?
We have tried, so I think this is asking, can we have other partner colleges in North Carolina? And if you think that you have a North Carolina college that is interested in becoming a partner, they can reach out to me. And I'll, when I have a moment here, I'll put my email address in the chat. I will tell you that we worked diligently to try to get more North Carolina colleges this year, and we had a couple others that we thought were going to bravely come forth with Wingate, and at the last moment, they decided they weren't able to do it. One of the key things is our partner colleges close the gap between our award and the actual cost of tuition and fees. So for other private universities in North Carolina, that's no small cost to them. And it requires that they be willing to put some dollars behind it, which is what Wingate is doing. Okay, I'm going to move us forward here just a moment. We'll come back, more time for questions. We have 2 application guides, and the links are in this deck. We'll be sending it out to you. These guides will tell you everything you need to know about applying for the scholarship. Tells students and you how to determine eligibility, how to complete the application. Really important. Let me just stress this for you if you're assisting students. Once they have started their application in the system, they can monitor it. And there's a little glitch in the platform that we use, because students can actually submit their application, but it doesn't yet have the documentation uploaded. So if they do that, they will get a notice both in their portal as well as an email notice saying your application is not complete. So it's really important that they're watching what's happening with their application. If they've uploaded a transcript and for some reason there's a flaw in it, it doesn't have their name, it's blurry, it can't be read. Again, in this portal, it will tell them your transcript has not been accepted. So we've had students that didn't realize this. They thought they submitted their application. They never looked again. And it ended up then their application wasn't considered. It tells about the award notification. Once they receive it, they do have to accept the award online. It tells them the deadline for that and how they go about doing it. And then last but not least, we ask all of our scholars to take a pledge. And probably one of the most important aspects of that pledge is in each of our partner colleges, and this is true for Opportunity and National, we have a team of people who are there to serve our scholars. And one of the most important people is called the Scholar Advisor. It's a holistic advisor. It's not the academic advisor. It's a holistic advisor that is there. They know these students' status. They can help them navigate their college journey. And we have found the things that trip our students up in college is generally not the academics. It's life circumstances as an undocumented person. a parent is detained, a parent is deported, a parent loses their job. That means these students often then have to step in and care for siblings. They sometimes have to take on an additional job. That certainly has been true in COVID. So this scholar advisor is there, knows the students' circumstances, and is working with them to help them put together a plan to complete. So one of the student pledges is they will meet with this scholar advisor once each term. So really important pledge. I won't go into the other details about it, but just so you know, the students themselves are making some commitments when they accept the scholarship. Okay, so then let's go on. I'm going to very quickly just tell you, look at the time here. We're nearing end of time. By the way, we're all willing to stay on afterwards if you have more time. Very quickly, the application, there is nothing surprising about it. It is we've made it as simple as we can, and it asks the same kinds of information they'd be providing in a college application. What I want you to know is students do not have to upload any financial information. They simply enter the household income, number of people supported, dependents who will be going to college. That's it. No documentation required. We do not ask for any immigration documentation. If they have DACA or TPS, we ask for the number and the expiration date. We do not ask them to upload information. We don't collect addresses because we don't use them and we don't want that information in our system. We do ask for home responsibilities, quite unique, but that's because so many undocumented students have outside responsibilities, family responsibilities, and we want to give them credit for it. They are translators, they are transporters, they are child caregivers, they are often cooking for their families, they're often working to support their families. Those all are evidence of determination and resilience. They write 2 essays. Those are fairly self-explanatory. And we have prompts for them in the application, no more than 750 words. And you can certainly work with them on writing these essays. And then I mentioned the supporting documents. The only thing they're uploading are transcripts. So certainly the high school transcript, a GED, we do accept GED students, or if they've been in a community college, the community college transcript. So that's it. Only thing they're uploading are transcripts. Here are the dates. I've talked about those. And I just want to come and close with this idea that we are more than a scholarship program. And it's going to be a little tight on time, but I'm going to start with you, Sadana, and then Brenda. I'd like you just to mention, what do you think have been one of the most important supports that you received along with our scholarship? So Sad, maybe you'll start.
Yep, absolutely. So someone also asked a question about my experience being non-traditional and if I had any hurdles going back at after such a long time. And I'll say not at all. Although I was 10 years older than everyone else on campus, I was just so eager and excited to be there that I blended right in like any other 18-year-old or 19-year-old. And I sort of just jumped headfirst into everything and really enjoyed my college experience. The thing that impacted me the most is actually bullet number 1 on this slide, the community of the scholars and the graduates. I often say that in Georgia, the only undocumented person I knew beside myself was my brother. So this was the first time I was actually in a network of dreamers, undocumented advocates, champions, speaking for Trinity Washington personally, professors, deans, faculty, everyone was just so welcoming to us that I didn't have to hide my status. I didn't have to hide who I was. I could be open. I felt very safe and welcome there. They supported us through a lot of stuff. There would be a lot of political challenges that came up during my time, change of administration, that kind of stuff, but I always just felt really comforted and supported at Trinity. So I would say I leaned on the community a lot during my time there, as in my experience.
That's beautiful. Brenda, how about you? It's much different. Well, you both actually left your states to go to a different college. So Brenda, let's hear your story. What was most important to you?
For me, actually, I would also agree with her and say that the community was a big impact. But another impact for me was my scholar advisor. And he was actually very supportive because where his office was located was in Delaware State Library. So a lot of the students would actually go to the library to study, or if they weren't in the library, they were just in other like buildings in Delaware State. But the library was a very big one, and his office was right there. So, you know, it was just nice to know that he would come out of his office and would check up on us and just say, how are we doing? And just ask about our day and our family. And because, you know, like you said, we are far from home. And it was just nice to be there with all the other students getting our education done. And some of them would actually find jobs. So it was just very helpful if we ever had any questions. And it was nice to know that he was there to able to help us with anything. Like if there was something personal going on at home, there was actually an emergency fund that he would tell us about. And it was very helpful for like if we needed like school supplies, especially like for me, I was a nursing major, so I know I had to get like a stethoscope and things that were like scrubs, and it was just more costly because I was there as like a full-time student, so I did have a part-time job, but it was nice to know like I was able to use and pull those funds for anything school related, or even for like, you know, I know like some students would use it like for bills or things that they couldn't get done, and they would need it for every month, you know. So it was really nice. But like she said, community was also very helpful, and it was very welcoming to be surrounded by other DACA students, because growing up in North Carolina, I know like that's not something you would actually know about, like, you know, asking people's status, but it was just very comforting.
Oh, that's so beautiful. Thank you for sharing that, Brenda. Kevin Noriega is our scholar advisor at DSU, and he is phenomenal. But I will tell you that all of our partner colleges have scholar advisors that are so supportive of our students. We're at the end. I'm just going to close with this, and then I'm happy to stay on and answer more questions. You belong. This is such an important message for students, especially those coming out of high school right now who do not have DACA. Many students across the country are questioning the value of a college education, particularly given its cost. And that is certainly true of undocumented students who don't see a career pathway in front of them. The question they're asking themselves is, why go to college if I'm not going to be able to legally work? So we want to assure people it will continue to open doors for you with or without DACA. There are career pathways available to students without DACA or TPS. We are now creating a whole set of programming around that for our scholars. We moved from what used to be almost 100% DACA TPS students to now just over half of our scholars have DACA TPS. I expect for this incoming class, it might be around 90% who are fully undocumented, no work authorization. If a DREAM Act should be passed, we still continue to cross all fingers. They almost always require some college education, so students will already be on the path to meet the requirements. And then finally, we just say to students, look, even if the very worst thing happened and you were to be deported to a country you may not even know, you would be going with a college education. And that's something no one can ever take away from you. So I'll officially close. Alice, again, our thanks to you for pulling this together. All of you who attended, thank you for joining us, especially on a snow day with no snow. I confess to Sedona, if I had been one of you, I would probably have gone out to play. So thank you. It's just a commitment of how much you care about these students. So feel free to jump off. We want to respect your time, but we'll also just stay on, and Saad, maybe you can continue to identify questions and we can answer them.
Yes, absolutely. We do have questions. Folks want to know how many scholarships are awarded each year and how many applicants do we get each year?
Right, I can speak to that. I don't know so much know the total number of applicants, but in terms of ratio, people often ask us what's the ratio from applicants to who actually gets the award. And that's of submitted applications, just on average, 1 in 3 get our award. It's been better in the last couple of years because we've been giving more awards. So it's 1 in 2. So the chances are quite good. And I'll come back. This year, we want to give 1,500 national awards and 150 opportunity. And in the past, that number has been 1,000 and around 100. So this is the year for students to apply. We do not intend to be an elite nor selective program. If we think students are college ready, we want to fund them. It's that simple. And we'll fund as many as we can with the dollars that we have.
Great.
Other-
Yep, actually I have a question that I'm going to throw to Brenda. So someone has asked, do you have advice for encouraging students to think outside of North Carolina, as many students may not want to leave their families and homes? So I'll have Brenda take that one.
I would say like leaving my family in North Carolina was very scary, yes, but it was definitely worth it because it opened so many doors. Like I got to meet so many other people, like people who lived even locals in Delaware. Like I was just very eye-opening and different experiences, and that's what you need in life to move up. And it was just like I could not have imagined like if I didn't make this move, like the drastic changes that it has done to me. And it's definitely opened so many opportunities, and just to take that leap of faith. And you know, it even though I was far from home, like we made it work. Like I would constantly call my parents, my sister, and yes, and I would even come back home and visit, you know, like when we had spring break or Christmas, but it all made it so much better. Like it made me even feel closer to my family in that sense, because I would appreciate being with them in that amount of time. And it was just very, like I said, it was definitely worth it, because now that I have my degree and I'm a registered nurse, it's just amazing that I'm able to come back home and I can tell my parents about like, now they all ask me like random questions about like my sister, she would joke around. She's like, Brenda, like my arm is hurting. Can you please examine it? So it's just definitely worth it. And just take that leap of faith, because your family will always be there no matter what.
Thank you, Brenda. I'll echo that to say that I actually grew up in a rural part of Georgia, a little town called Monroe. So for me, moving to a quote unquote big city like DC offered me a lot of opportunities, such as internships and the ability to just meet a lot of folks and network, which ultimately, you know, led to a lot of the opportunities I had then. And then for those, if you are thinking of DC, I had the opportunity by sharing my story to go to Capitol Hill and advocate and to, you know, just do a lot of that kind of stuff in DC, where, you know, it's very accessible that way. And I just feel like it opened my eyes to a lot more opportunities, diversity, and just the fact that you can grow a lot from, you know, being in a different location. And then, as Brenda said, you do come home for the holidays and things like that. All right, and then we do have a question about if current scholars would be able to speak with students and families if they were invited.
Yes, and we are happy to do that. So you can reach out to Sadana or me, and we are happy to schedule. And someone else had asked about parents, and we're happy to meet with parents. And we do have many Spanish speakers on the team. So if that is needed and appropriate, we can do that as well. I also saw there was this question about support for families with help with the transition, particularly for the students who are leaving the state. It's a scary thing to have their child leave. And one of the things that we do in the Opportunity Scholarship is for once the students receive and accept the award, we've done a session for their families. And again, had Spanish speakers. Now, I referenced Spanish. It's about 85% of our scholars are Latino. But of course, 15% are from other countries all around the world. But to the extent that it's helpful to have a Spanish speaker, we always can do that. So again, you can just reach out to Saad or me, and we're happy to get the right person on the team to help do this.
Great. And I think, Candy, if you can drop your email again, there you go. Awesome. And then I'll drop mine when I get a chance. But right now, someone asked also if students don't meet our criteria, or they have, you know, a visa that precludes them from applying. I've just dropped a link to other scholarships that do not require U.S. citizenship or permanent residency. And it's from one of our partners, Immigrants Rising. So Immigrants Rising keeps a list of scholarships and fellowships and that kind of stuff. Every year they update it where you don't need U.S. citizenship or permanent residence. So we always share that as well in case folks do not meet our criteria. So I'll keep dropping that link in the chat a few times for you all. All right, and then another question came in. What's the easiest way to stay up to date on the info sessions? And oh yes, Candy answered the other one for school presentations. So if you follow us on social media, I am the person who's behind our social media between Gabby Pacheco and I, and we put a lot of our events on our Facebook page. You can also follow our Instagram and Twitter. So if you follow one of those, you'll get all the information about deadlines, about when events are coming up, things like that. We also do a lot of our students and grads. We showcase them on our social media. So those are great for sharing. And we would appreciate also if you retweet us, put us in your stories, share us, that kind of stuff. And I think that's about all the questions that have come up. Oh, clarification. So are the 150 awards for North Carolina Opportunity Scholars?
They are not. That's in total. And there are about, Saad, you'll have to tell me, is it 13 or 14 locked out states?
20. We're up to 20
locked
locked
out
out
states. 20 locked out states. My God, that's shocking. Oh, and you know, the reason that we got up to 20 was because some states require DACA in order to get in-state tuition. And of course, that in essence now means it's a locked out state. Let me say this, most of the applicants that we get for the Opportunity Scholarship come from South Carolina, North Carolina, Georgia, so definitely in the heart. We don't worry about, you know, if we're supporting more students from North Carolina than any other state. We will give as many as we can up to that 150. And honestly, you know, we're in such a situation, if we had a really robust pool, we could even potentially go over that. So I would just say to all of you, encourage people to apply. This is the year to do it while we have these funds.
All right, and then Alice reminded me, thank you, that we have our past info sessions on our YouTube page. So I'm actually going to drop our YouTube channel link to TheDream.Us on YouTube if you just go in and search. So we did individual presentations on the national and then on the opportunity, and those are all there on the YouTube page as well. All right, and then someone is asking to hear from Ms. Rosales. So we can have Myra give us a little bit about her and her experiences at Wingate.
Thank you.
I was a student here. I started in 2016 as a student for bachelor and got my bachelor's in elementary education. And we have a special program for students in the elementary education program that they can get their master's if they come for an additional year. So then I got my master's degree for an additional year. And then I started working full-time right after that. I am not an undocumented student, but I think there is a lot of support for those kinds of students. I am Hispanic, so I joined the Latin American Student Association on campus, and the president when I was a student, and I think the vice president as well, as a senior, they were actually both undocumented. And so there's a lot of support for them. They had both that organization, and then we also have ALPHA, which is Association of Latin Professionals for Youth, I believe. And so that is an organization for business, typically for business professionals, but anybody is welcome who are Latino, and then they have networking opportunities. They went to Las Vegas for a conference for that organization. So that was a really cool experience for them. So I think there's a lot of support. We do have a multicultural center where it's called the Unity House, and students can go there. Underrepresented students can feel safe and welcome there. They have meeting spaces. They have like a barbecue area where students can barbecue in the back, and they have events there. So it's a really fun experience there as well.
Thank you. That is so great. All right, I want to be respectful of everyone's time. We're now almost 15 minutes over. I reiterate what I said at the beginning, which is I am just so impressed that all of you are so committed, and especially given that you join us on what is a snow day. We can't thank you enough. My colleague Gabby, I think, is still on. And Gabby, if you are, it would just be great to have you just close with just a couple thoughts.
Sure, Candy. So first, our greatest gratitude to all of you for the work that you do to enhance the life of the young people that you work with. Know that you are making a difference, and that one person changing their life, or one person changes the lives of everybody, because it's not just about them, it's about their community, it's about their family. And so we're really excited about being able to talk to you all and share this opportunity. And like Candy mentioned and said, the Dream.Us is really more than a scholarship. We're a family, and we care about our students. Our colleges care about our students. And we know that once the students are able to receive those college degrees, they're going to be just in a better off position than they were. And we want to make sure that every student who wants to get that college education can do so through the Dream.Us. So thank you so much for the work that you do. And please make sure to share this far and wide. Tell it to as many people as possible, especially because the Opportunity Scholarship round closes on the 31st, and the National Scholarship will close at the end of February. So thank you for everything.
Bye all. Take care.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.